Hey, this is Lucas Tudor with LT Bass Fishing, and I just wanted to make a quick video over my top 4 favorite baits. Probably in 4th place would be a jig, but more specifically a jig made for pitching up against grass and mats and stuff. Not necessarily a football jig where you would drag it, or a swimming jig. Just one where you can pitch it up, jiggle it for a few minutes. It's got rattles on it because you want all that action to just come all of a sudden, get that area covered, and then move on to the next. So I have this one. Actually, I was gonna show how I rigged up my baits, but I think I'll make 4 separate videos on each of my 4 top baits, on how they're set up and what colors they are and the rigging and the hooks and all that kind of stuff. So with that, I'll move on to number 3, the wobble head. It's a lot like a jig if you've never seen one before, or a hard head. It's also called a hard head. It's a lot like a jig, but except it's got a football head, but the hook is free to move. So it gives it a lot better action. You can throw worms, craws. You can do a lot of stuff on this particular hook. It's not limited to just one type of bait. It's like a shaky head, but it's just a little bit more of a, it's not as much of a finesse type of deal. Again, I will make a separate video on what plastics I throw on it and what rod and reels I throw on it. Number 2, I already have this rigged up because I really like this, would be the Carolina rig. See if I can set that down. The Carolina rig always works well. I have just any weight works, you know, it always changes. There's not one weight that's always best. For this situations, I probably have about a 3/8 ounce weight, 2/8 ounce. I got a red bead on there. The last time I used the Carolina rig, a week ago, they really wanted the bead. It's like a rattle with a crankbait. You can have rattled crankbaits. I don't know if you can see that red crawl right there, but it's just like having rattles in a crankbait versus having no rattles in a crankbait. It can make a difference. That little clink, probably can't hear that, but it makes a pretty distinct sound underwater. It almost sounds like a crawfish making a tic-tac noise. So if you threw a drop shot, I like to throw drop shots with craws on them a lot. You can put a bead on a drop shot above the hook and it will clink with the hook, just not as hard. I do run swivels on mine. There is a cool way to rig them, but I think I'll make a separate video on a quicker way to rig a Carolina rig rather than having to tie a leader on and use a swivel. There's a quicker alternative, but I'll save that for another video. If you want to see that, leave a comment below this video. And I just have a cheap hook on there right now. I was fishing out of a pond. Usually I'll use Gamakatsu whenever I'm seriously wanting to get every single bite I can. I think my brother gave me this for my birthday, so I just wanted to make him feel good and use it. No, I'm just kidding. I have an 8-inch ribbon tail worm on, pink and black. I love this color. Actually, the profile picture on my YouTube channel, I caught both of those giant bass using this exact setup. The only thing I've done is just retied it. That's the only thing I've done, is just retied this. So with that being said, that brings us to number 1, chatterbait. All-time favorite bait. It combines my 2 favorite things. My number 1 way to cover water is a square bill crankbait, specifically the Livingston. And I love jig fishing because you just catch so many big fish doing it. So why not combine the 2? And that's what someone else had the idea years ago to do, because these aren't new baits. These have been out forever. This is that shad color that everybody knows. From every brand mimics this same color, and I think it's just a great color no matter what brand you get it from. Strike King probably does the best though. So that I'll go into separate videos for everything, how I rig them, such as the Wobblehead and Carolina rig. I do use different baits. I don't always use the same thing. And I did want to share my runner-up, 5th place. Fish head spin. This is a very versatile lure. It's a shallow water lure. You can rig it with just a paddle tail, boot tail, wedge tail, craws, anything really. Or you can even run a tandem blade off the back, like not one like this one that has 2 blades up here, but like ones that just have 1 blade here. You can take a piece of shrink tubing, put it over a swivel, stick that over the end of the hook, and then have that running out the back. So those are my top 4 baits, and I will go into separate videos on specifics for each one. Thanks for tuning in to LT Bass Fishing.